Come on.
Yeah, let's make sure you're good.
Okay.
Welcome back to Georgia Living. I'm Chris Evans.
I'm Céline Evans.
And this is the #1 podcast in Cobb County, according to my mother. So thanks for tuning in. If you enjoy the show, please subscribe. Click the little bell on YouTube if you're watching. Hang out, subscribe, leave a review on your favorite podcast platform so that we can help spread the message. But welcome back. It's again, we're kind of on this bi-monthly format, or like twice a month format. So we've been extremely in high demand over the last few weeks with work. I think we've done about 4 closings since we put out the last episode.
Something like that.
We've got a new listing. We'll talk about that in the real estate segment as we get closer to it. But we've also been busy with our family. As always, this is very central and very important to us. So we got a chance to go down to Savannah. We spent St. Patrick's Day there.
Can we first address not the elephant in the room, but the parrot in the room?
I think we should.
So we have a guest today. His name is Tippett. He is a 20-year-old severe macaw, and we rescued him 3 years ago. And I guess these previous owners wanted to travel with him, but they decided that they couldn't take him. So I said, oh, okay, so I'll travel with him. We have taken him to Alaska, like dogs and cats do in the cabin, right? He sits with me, and he's seen Denali. He's seen a whole bunch of things.
The only time he's ever flown is at 30,000 feet.
30,000, yes, and he does speak. Most of it is mumbles, but he'll surprise me sometimes in saying hello there or...
You said,
love,
what's
right?
up this morning?
Yeah, he's listening right now.
Yeah, so if you hear mumbles from a parrot as we're talking, he always wants to be a part of the conversation. So if you're enjoying this, watch on YouTube. You can see him right in front of Céline. So.
Yeah, and the reason why we brought him is because we are family. We're real people, and...
No, I'm fake.
You're AI generated.
I don't exist. I'm AI.
Well, AI is really
ruining
over, and everyone's, seeing fake videos, and what's real? You know what? This parrot in front of me is very real. He could bite me at any time.
Yeah, if I put my hand too close in a way he doesn't like it, I'll let him lose a finger. That's some real stuff right there.
That is real. All right. Anyways, we went to Savannah, you were saying.
Yeah, so the couple of weeks back, we had just, on the last episode, we talked about, the kids did their beacon testing. So that was good. We ended up going down to Savannah for the St. Patrick's Day event. Originally, our plan was to march with the DAR ladies down there.
Yes, but, it's such a popular parade.
Hugely popular. There were like 200 and something organizations that were a part of the parade. We, as part of that, DAR they didn't make it in the parade this year. So we reached out.
All day affair if everyone got in.
Oh yeah, they have to limit it. It was already like a 4 or 5 hour parade as it was, because the Savannah St. Patrick's Day parade is the second largest in the world according to the most recent data that I found. So we went down there. DAR didn't get in. So we reached out to a couple of organizations that I'm a part of, and we were able to march with the AOH chapter at Savannah, which is the Ancient Order of Hibernians. Hibernia is what Rome called Ireland when they first discovered it. So.
I thought this was a new organization.
No, it is super old. It is like very, very ancient, hence the name Ancient Order.
Yeah, they were helping for, when Ireland was trying to become free of England.
Yes, they did.
They helped with that monetary assistance. So that's a long time ago.
That was a long time ago. So we got a chance to go down, met some great folks, had a great time. We got to see the Knights of Columbus 630 house down there, which is like a fraternity house for adults. That thing was awesome.
Yeah.
It was prime location, such a great hangout. We met fantastic people. We got, within 5 minutes of showing up, we ended up finding one of my fraternity brothers and my child's godfather. We found his cousin, like right there. Same place. So it is a small town. Everybody kind of knows each other, especially in the Irish side. So had a great trip there. The kids walked in the parade, no complaints, 6 hours down, 6 hours back. So we could talk a little bit about what we did in Savannah later on. We're going to do a destination spotlight on Savannah, Georgia, sharing some of our favorite spots from the trip and just a refresh, because I think we've talked about Savannah before. Mm-hmm. Let's see. What else is going on, honey?
What else is going on? Gosh. Aren't we supposed to talk about Savannah so much?
Well, we're going to talk a lot about Savannah, but we've got...
Do you want me to talk about the community?
Yeah, let's talk about the community before we go into Savannah.
Okay, that makes sense. All right. So there's a lot going on around here.
It's officially springtime, y'all. If you haven't...
Yeah, that was what I was going to say. You hear the scratchiness and everything. I think if you live here, you know what I'm talking about. The lake in front of Dodgen Middle School is yellow, caked with pollen. And this is the pine tree pollen. And they're huge. And what happens is that when it doesn't rain, like it hasn't in a long time right now, it starts getting stuck in places and it doesn't drain out to the Chattahoochee because of the sewer system, right? So everybody has been scratchy, congested. You guys don't get that in the north, do you? Not like this.
Not like here.
Not like this.
Not like here. I mean, it gets polleny in the north. I remember as a kid, I had allergies. But this is something else. Our business partner Reed sent me a video of they had a tree felled the other day. He sent me a video of it crash, and you could just see the pollen coming out of it. It was
gross.
So gross.
Well, if you can take some allergy pills and get through the day, there's Ackworth Art Fest that's coming up. It is going to be downtown Ackworth with artist vendors, food, and live entertainment. Great way to spend the afternoon. I guess you can even take your parrot if you have one.
Yeah, so this week as we're going through the community events, these are all happening in the month of April. We'll have links to these with more details on the show notes or on selectrealty.com after, so feel free to go and check it out if you're interested in any of this stuff.
Yes, and then Caffeine and Octane. So this has been going on for a very long time. It's another...
He just dropped a bomb.
Don't poop on me. So Caffeine and Octane is going to be the largest monthly car show in the county. I've actually driven by this one before.
It's huge.
And it's really cool. They have vintage classic, exotic supercars. Even if you're not a car person or, like to fix them or whatever you do with cars. I don't know. I'm not one.
We just oogle over them. We oogle. We gawk.
I will never understand it.
We talk.
Yes.
What would you do? You can
spend an afternoon there. It's a fun event to walk through.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about the Art Hatch Spring?
Absolutely. So Kennesaw is hosting the Art Hatch Spring Garden Festival in April. This one focuses on gardening, plants, and outdoor living. It's perfect timing. Everybody's starting to get their yards ready for spring. We're I think through the last thaw. It looks like. So everything should be good on for planting from here on out.
It's not Easter yet. There will be another one.
I don't know.
There will be another one.
We'll see.
I promise you, there is always.
And then finally, the Big Shanty Festival is coming up in Kennesaw, which is a huge festival. Always draws a huge crowd from craft vendors, food. What else do we got at the Big Shanty Festival? They've got live music, family activities. This is a long-standing tradition. They've had Touch a Truck going on during this. They've had events at the Southern Locomotive Museum right there. Downtown Kennesaw is really transforming. And, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with all of the, the property from Wildman's now that estate is closed out. There's going to be more development in downtown Kennesaw. And I think... we're excited to see what happens.
Yeah.
But there's more coming up. So the Cobb County Job Fair is coming in April for anyone looking for a new career or opportunity. And then, more time with the kids because...
Spring break's coming up next week.
Yeah!
They're back home.
They're back home.
Again. always boomeranging. I can't stop saying that.
You throw them out and they come right home.
They really do.
They do.
So plan trips accordingly. Gas prices are up right now, so I don't know if there's going to be a lot of traveling places, but usually spring break is close by, so we'll see.
You know, the lakes are open. They're local. They're close by. You could check out Ackworth Beach. They've got a beach there. There's all sorts of things that you can do locally and have fun without breaking the bank.
Yes. So there's also First Friday concert series. That is also downtown Kennesaw. And this is a great outdoor music event where you can take a chair, go with your family, relax, and listen to some live music, which I think is underrated right now.
Oh, you're totally underrated.
Anything live,
with AI is now making songs that are topping the charts on Spotify. So
What?
Yeah, that exists. So I think it's best to just get out, get off the device, and get in front of something cool that's happening in real life.
Yeah, or you can recycle at the community recycling event in Marietta.
Yep. And Marietta Gardeners Club is having a plant sale, which is going to be one of the biggest of the season. And then one of the biggest events in Marietta is coming up in April, and that is Taste of Marietta.
Yep.
Always a great event to get out, try all the local restaurants, see what's new, who has tweaked the menu, who's made improvements, and who's not up to par this year. There's gossip that happens too.
So this is where they give you like a small appetizer for like $1 or $2, right?
Every vendor has a different
Yeah.
thing. Some will serve plates, some will serve food, some will serve samples. So you can
Yeah.
go around and try lots of different things. It's really a cool event.
Well, so when you get fat from that, you can bike it off.
Yes. So last year on the show, James got into mountain biking at school. And the way mountain biking works around here is that the schools each have their own team, but the league itself is a composition league. So all the schools get together, they ride together, they practice together, and then they'll go off and compete later. So registration just opened up for coaches for this year, and I'm back in it. And as of tomorrow, as of date of this recording, April 1st, the student registration starts opening up. So if anybody's interested in getting out riding some trails here locally, or just interested in the sport in general, feel free to reach out. I'm happy to connect you with the people who can kind of give you some more information about how it works. And it really is a great sport, because a lot of the team sports are like all focused on you've got to be really good at this, or you got to be perfect at that, or get better at this skill. Whereas the mountain biking, it is very much about being outdoors, about enjoying the sport, having fun, learning the skills, learning to get confidence on the trail around other people, going faster. And then the competition is there on race days. But most of the sport involves just getting better, learning it, getting comfortable, and then starting to get aggressive on speed a little later. Mm-hmm. So you can the sport is welcoming for all ages, all sexes. If you have 2 feet and you can pedal a bike, we're interested. It starts at 6th grade, goes up to 8th. If you're interested, happy to share some info there. But that is done. So I will be a volunteer coach again, assistant coach, tier 1. There are 3 tiers. I'm tier 1. I'm not that great, but it's still fun nonetheless. All right. So I think that's it for our community section. Let's go back in the notes to Savannah, and let's talk about one of our favorite places for both history and food in the state of Georgia.
We have featured Savannah before, so we're going to really do this from our trip viewpoint, because we've told you about what's available, but what really happens on a trip with 3 kids? What was possible and what wasn't possible, and it surprised us. Yeah. Yep. So on the way down, of course, being in Georgia, we had to drive because there's no point in flying from Atlanta to Savannah when you need a car there anyways, right? So we drove down, and it was about 4.5 hours, depending on how many potty breaks we needed to take.
6 when you factor in the 2 stops, 1 for gas and 1 for lunch.
Sure. Maybe little kids might need to stop a little bit more often, but...
At least there weren't any diaper changes on this one.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad. They are older as well, so... And when you get there, we did not pass a Buc-ee's, did we?
No, not on that route.
Yeah. So Atlanta to Savannah, you will not pass a Buc-ee's.
Unless you take, well, you could, but you're taking a longer route.
Okay. No one wants to do that.
No.
And so
We'll talk about Buc-ee's next time I go up north.
It's a Texas chain. And so when we got down there, the kids started looking around and they were so impressed because what we did was we showed them a few YouTube videos, not too many, but kid-friendly ones that explained a little bit of the history of Savannah so that they weren't going in there absolutely blind. And so they were looking around trying to look for things that they saw in the video. I don't know if they saw anything, but they got the hint that, yes, this is kind of what we were seeing on the YouTube shows. Are you saying hi?
Hi, Tippy. They definitely wanted to see the park, Forsyth Park and the fountain. That was huge for them,
Yes.
which they did. But
That might be my fault, though, because I've been painting Forsyth Park and the fountain for about 8 months.
yeah, they've been staring at it.
And so they know the shape. They've been by it so many times. It was iconic to them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So immediately they were like, can we go see the fountain? It was the last thing that we saw.
It was. So let's start off with lodging. We got there. We had an Airbnb off Broughton Street, downtown, about 2 blocks off of River Street. Great location for walkability. Awful location if you're looking for a place that has parking on site. So the number one thing that helped us, probably the best tool that we own as a family of 5, is our folding cart.
Mm-hmm.
So we got there, and with the parade coming up, parking in downtown Savannah can get very hairy and very full very fast. So the parking deck closest to our Airbnb was already full. So we went, and that was like a block away. The one we parked at was about 2 blocks away. So we got a parking space. Fortunately, the Land Cruiser was able to fit in the deck, just barely. We were like maybe 1.5 inches of clearance between the roof and the ceiling. But it was
interesting enough to take a picture.
Yeah, we found a parking space, loaded everything in the cart, and then walked a couple of blocks to our Airbnb. Once we got there, we got settled, relaxed, and then did what every parent does, is go into DoorDash and see what's available for us, or if we had to go out and go shopping.
Instacart.
So got on DoorDash. We got some groceries sent over from Kroger. Wasn't hard. We ended up just, you walk downstairs and open up the door, and there it was.
Food too. So
Yeah.
yogurt and granola.
That's become more of a habit for me, over the last year, because I'm really focused on just cleaner eating for the whole family. Making sure that we're not eating the fried foods like we did when we were younger as much.
Oh, I ate fried food last night, though.
Yes, you did. If you want to talk about that, we can. But I didn't. Okay.
I found
so
food you can't eat.
when we get to, all right, let's just get this out of the way.
Okay.
Céline, go ahead.
No, I thought it was food.
Oh, Céline did fried fish last night. It was a whole fried fish.
This is like kid food.
Yeah.
Like fish fingers.
Head,
fish
eyeballs,
sticks.
skeleton, everything.
No, you dump the fish in the batter and then you fry it and then you eat it from the head whole.
Yep. And there was just something about that wasn't appetizing. I'm sure it was delicious.
It was delicious.
It smelled amazing.
Yes.
I just couldn't bring myself to do that.
It was full of eggs,
That
too.
was.
Did you know that?
I did not.
It was delicious.
So Savannah was great. We had, once we got down there, within a couple hours, we had food delivered. We got a chance to go out, start walking around. The kids walked 16.2 miles.
Yeah.
Over 2 days.
It did not feel like that, though, because we were constantly looking at things, constantly going by landmarks,
Yeah.
right? So 60 miles, yes, we felt it, but did we really? It's not like a treadmill, 60
No,
miles.
it's you've got brakes
torture.
and you're just moving a lot.
Yeah.
So there was no complaints from the kids. What we ended up doing was we kind of chilled out Friday night, or I guess Monday night. Tuesday, St. Patrick's Day. So we got up early. We went to the Mass at the cathedral. They had an Irish priest. It was beautiful. The kids got to see all the decoration. This is the first time they've been in a cathedral. So seeing all the stained glass and ornate work, they really liked it. And then
It was their first time hearing the actual organ with the big tubes.
Yeah.
And then they had the chorus. So they had the brass there.
Mm-hmm.
So it was very...
It was a huge thing.
Carolish.
It was a televised Mass.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was televised for St.
Really?
Patrick's Day. Yep.
That's right, because there were reporters right outside,
Yep.
and I thought we were just going in a Mass, but there's a camera rolling.
Yep. In all the chaos, ended up losing a hat. So if somebody got a little Irish style barber hat, congratulations. Enjoy it.
So quick too. 10 minutes.
I don't know.
And it's gone.
Yeah, gone. Like it just in the commotion between leaving and putting jackets on. I have no idea what happened to it. I think it just got dropped. Then after that, we walked back to the house, got everybody a little break, and then we went to Forsyth Park and searched for an hour to find the people that we were marching with. And then we found them. We got in the parade. We walked the parade route, which was so much fun. I mean, lots of cheers and...
We got to see so many things that I did not I think if we didn't walk that route, we would have missed the Capitol. Like, yes, you can see it on the skyline, but we were up close to it, right?
We saw a lot of Savannah. Yeah. Just doing that.
A ton.
And then one thing that it was your idea. I don't know if I did it or you did it, but because we were taking the kids out of school for this, we wanted to make it educational. So Céline had a great idea. Let's create a walking tour. So I think this is one of the great things that AI can do for us right now. AI has its all its negativity, right? Cybernet is going to take over the world. We'll need John Connor one day. But until that day, we went into AI. We said, we're going to do a walking tour. We're going to be in this area. Create a 2-hour-long walking tour for us that hits us a few spots and gives us some history.
And I said kid-friendly, too, because they have short attention spans.
Yes. So it gave us like 6 spots. We walked through a couple of the squares. Mm-hmm. We walked through the cemetery, and then we walked to the battlefield. And
There's something about going through the cemetery and knowing that right where you're standing, British troops were encamped,
mm-hmm.
and the headstone that you see cracked right next to you was their naughtiness in cracking it.
So British troops had camped in this cemetery during the occupation of Savannah, and when they did that, they vandalized it. Go figure, foreign invaders. So they ended up knocking over a bunch of headstones and doing some vandalism there. So one of the challenges that we gave to the kids, the AI came up with, is, hey, go look, see how many you can find that are either bent or broken.
Or leaning.
Yeah, or leaning because they've been pushed. So that was really cool, and we got to explain that, hey, vandalism can stay for a long time, kids.
Mm-hmm. So don't vandalize anything.
Yeah. So that was really interesting.
It was tangible to them, so that's what made it great.
It not only that, but part of it is legacy because you're in DAR, and when you enter into the cemetery, there's a giant arch provided by DAR that says DAR on it. So
it's the Savannah chapter that did that. So kudos to them. They've been around for a very long time.
Ooh, sorry, we were ruffling our feathers in the mic.
Yeah, except he's cleaning himself, so all the pieces just flew out over me.
Yeah, it did. That's all right. So the kids got to see some of the work that their organization has done. They got to experience and see kind of the battlefields. They got to learn why Savannah was set up in squares. It was for a military defense.
But it was also the idea of a utopian society.
Your mic is... There we go. Okay.
It was an idea of a utopian society as well.
Yeah.
that was their idea of the perfect city.
Yeah.
I think that's cool.
It is. And what I find really interesting is Savannah was it was a planned city, and it was our capital before Atlanta. What baffles me is how well it's designed compared to Atlanta and every other city in Georgia that was built after it.
Because of the history.
But what I learned there is that other cities studied Savannah. It seems just not other cities in our state.
Unfortunately.
But getting around there is really easy.
Yeah.
Everything, there's a lot of history there. And the kids got to see the horse and buggies being pulled around, and we got to...
Yes.
Yeah, so lots of cool stuff. They got to check out River Street on the last day. So after the parade and after our 2-hour walking tour, we were beat. So there was no more walking on St. Patrick's Day. But before we checked out and left the next day, we all went down to River Street. Kids got to go to River Street Sweets. We went to Boyd's Cookies. We went to the River Street Marketplace.
Remember,
what else did we do?
We were talking to the Boyd's Cookies guys, and he said that he'd been in Savannah for a very long time.
Oh, yeah.
He was not surprised at the fact that we found on the riverfront an empty pair of jeans.
The day after St. Patrick's Day in Savannah is fun.
It was just laying there. Then there was a random pair of sneakers with no human.
Yep. So somebody went home without their pants and without their shoes.
Yeah, but the Birds guy said that, he's seen women huddled together sleeping, and the next morning, like by a bush and stuff. I was like, that is crazy.
Well, fortunately, it was on a Tuesday. So Savannah was pretty mild this year. Lots of good fun was had by all. All right. Any other final thoughts on Savannah as a destination, as anything to do or things like that?
I think Savannah is a perfect 2-night, 3-day stay.
Oh, it's a great weekend trip.
If you want to take time to see it and to learn about its history. If you're more of a go person, I would say there's enough for maybe 2 days. But if you need that extra time for kids, then I would say 3 days.
Yeah.
And that was the perfect amount of time without overdoing it or without exhausting them on the topic. Mm-hmm. So it's about that.
Absolutely. So it's great because it's one of the places in Georgia where you can go and actually get some great history, great food, beautiful scenery, and a completely different feel from Atlanta.
It really is.
Oh, yeah. Just a quick reminder, if you haven't already, please like, share, subscribe. We would love to have you leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform. And if you're watching us on YouTube, to see this lovely birdie right here. Good boy.
I've been dodging him the whole time, like going back and forth.
Please subscribe and ring the bell so you never miss an episode. All right. So let's get into a little bit of real estate because this is our bread and butter, right? Real estate, it's what we do. It's kind of ingrained in our life. This is one of those years. Well, we've kind of been through the ringer a few years. As we're going through the adjustment from interest rates going up, slowing down the market, interest rates starting to come down, market popping up. Then we go into all of this unknown around war or potential war or any of this stuff. And we really end up in this state of anxiety, right? As homeowners, as buyers, the biggest stress in any transaction is the unknown. It is what is going to happen. I don't know what happens next. As a professional, that's been one of the things that we focus on trying to remove from that equation, is just trying to help people understand what the next steps are, what's involved, what external forces are at play on them so that they can make the best decisions that are possible. But this spring is a selling season. So historically, the worst sales happen in January. They're the median sales price is the lowest because it has the least demand and least inventory. But people like to move when it's warmer. People like to move in between school years. People like to move when, things are not chaotic around people visiting and holidays and all this stuff. So you just naturally going to have more people that want to move generally after Easter into, your mid-April, May, June. These are the hottest selling months of the year statistically. So they will have homes that contract in April will close in May. Homes that contract in May will typically close in June. May and June have the highest median sales prices of the year historically, year after year, excluding some random any external influences, right? Things like the interest rates going up may have flatlined for a year. But generally speaking, this is just the way real estate works. We've been in extreme high demand. So over the last 2 months, Céline and I have been bringing multiple properties to the market. Céline on Simply List is bringing, on average about 4 or 5 properties to the market every week. We've had about 4 or 5 closings so far this month on the Simply List side. We've had a couple of closings on the full service side. We just brought a new property to market, which is 1520 Timber Trace in Canton. So if you're interested, this property is asking $745,000. It is a 5-bedroom with a bonus room, 3.5 bath home on an acre in Canton. This is a cool house, y'all. If you like to entertain, this is one of the best entertaining homes that I've come across. It's got so much character. There is deck for days on this house. You have a very nice front covered porch that wraps around into a screened in porch with TV, bar, lounge area, so countertop bar. And then that room exits onto the back deck. So the house has a full wraparound walk-around deck. There are 2 screened-in porches. There's one upstairs. There's one in the basement. There is a basketball court, Soap Sports. It can be converted into pickleball. It has giant playground. Again, acre of land in Canton. Hard to be beat. So this property is listed. We've had it on the market for about 10 days now. Lots of showings, lots of interest. And that's what I wanted to talk about is the buyers are in the market for certain properties. There are people that have to move. There are people that want to move. And we've seen a lot of different things happening from Canton to Fayetteville over the last few weeks. So we've got a good sampling of what buyers want and what buyers are doing. The right house for the right value is the message in this economy. With the war in Iran that has started, interest rates have ticked up slightly. So kind of looking above 6%. Possibly at 6% with the buy down. We're going to have to get Rob Doer back on the show to give us all an update on that, but that's just kind of what I'm hearing. So that range. As we're going through the higher interest rate, that means that people are being a little bit more picky on what they want to buy. So some of these look like offers that are coming in as is. We're going to negotiate much lower. We're going to tell you that we want to buy the property as is. But we're still going to put a due diligence on that. So one of the challenges here, if you're a seller and you're entering this market, is seeing around the corner. What do I mean by that? When you're looking at negotiating an offer, you negotiate on usually twice. You negotiate your initial terms, and then there's a due diligence. And during that due diligence, the buyer is going to inspect the property. They're going to find out everything they find out about it. And then usually before the end of that due diligence, there's going to be a second round of negotiations where the buyer is going to come back and express the concerns that they have with the property. And then you're going to negotiate those concerns either through a monetary concession or through maybe a seller making some repairs to the property. Some of those might be lender required. Some of them might just be the buyer making the buyer comfortable with the purchase. So there's several options there, but there's usually 2 rounds of negotiation. And how you set up that contract in the first place is going to determine, it's going to influence a lot. It won't determine, but it's going to heavily influence how the negotiation in that second round works. It's also about making sure that as a seller or as a buyer, you're going in eyes wide open to the transaction. That means that when we're talking about submitting an offer, the agent needs to be in contact with the other agent. So if you're on the buy side, your agent needs to be in touch with the listing agent, the agent representing the seller. Communication is key. If we're going to bring two parties together, I need to know what's important. And I need to know what's realistic. So if I'm representing a buyer, I want to go out and ask questions like, hey, what's the seller's timeline? Would the seller consider, what kind of contingencies is the seller open to considering? What preferences does the seller have? Because if I know what they're trying to get to, I can kind of take a shortcut and have that conversation with my clients. And that way, when we're coming to the table to negotiate on whatever terms we're negotiating on, I've already worked with our client to try and meet the seller kind of halfway there. And that way, we're a two-way streak in communication goes a lot further in real estate than, just submit your offer and don't talk. So a lot of that comes down to knowing what's around the corner. And then a little insight here is feelings are not facts. And it's a very, how would you describe this industry, Céline, right now? Emotions run hot in residential real estate.
You know how a judge is supposed to be impartial?
Yes.
And not bring anything to the courtroom? Well, I think that they're forgetting that. And that, yes, it's a stressful time to be, especially, an agent out in the field. But courtesy doesn't end, right?
Politeness is always in fashion.
Yes, Audrey Hepburn.
Yeah.
Or was it Chanel?
I have no idea who said that. A lot of our real estate industry 2 or 3 years ago was booming. Agents were, coming into the industry left and right because they're like, oh, I want to go and make money.
But booming also meant a lot of competition too.
It did, but there was a lot of transactions for that competition. When interest rates went up, we have a lot of agents who have entered the industry, and we have very little business. So a lot of the business was going to people who have been successful. They've been working there and building their whole careers, but they have not. But then there's a lot of people whose income has been cut in half or more. And they are operating in this industry out of necessity. And when things go sideways, sometimes emotion doesn't get hidden as well. So the frustration of trying to get a deal done, some agents will, I'm not going to say cut corners, but some agents will push things harder. Some agents will maybe lose a cool right now. And I think we all kind of as an industry just need a little bit of a check because residential real estate is different than commercial.
Well, remember your name.
Commercial real estate is business to business, okay? Commercial real estate is all about the numbers. There's no emotion in it. Residential real estate, well, there's a little bit of emotion, but it's personal emotion about the portfolio or the success. It's not about the actual property.
Correct.
In residential real estate, you are dealing with somebody's home. You're dealing with somebody's memories. You're dealing with, the largest asset in their portfolio, and they don't fully understand it all the time. So emotions can run hot in a residential real estate transaction. You get a buyer who falls in love with this, but they're really stretching because, they want to buy the house, but they need help. They need closing costs, and then the property may not appraised for full value, or you may have something that comes up in inspection that wasn't expected. And that might be after a first round negotiation where you gave more than you wanted to as a seller. So the stress as a seller right now is, I'm hearing it from multiple parties. It feels like it never ends. On the buyer side, the stress is, oh my God, how do I get this property? What am I going to afford? So I think when we're talking about real estate, we got to understand what's happening emotionally. and then create this bridge of communication between buyer and seller, agent to agent, have open dialogue, talk through what's needed. And then if you're on the seller side, there's not a lot of buyers out there right now. There may only be 5 or 6 for your particular property. So you can't just throw everything by the wayside. But we still have to discern what a good buyer is and whether or not an offer is going to likely to make it to the closing table. So there's a lot of variables to consider today in real estate. Transactions are a little bit harder. Having somebody in your corner who can level-headedly explain what's going on is essential. Lots of real estate agents out there with 100 sales over a 15-year career sitting there saying, I've been doing this forever without looking everything up and using their experience, their perspective to justify, making a decision or an offer or a counter offer. And sometimes that just doesn't happen. So in residential real estate, feelings are not facts. And we have to kind of focus on the deal, the transaction, and the facts involved and try and figure out ways to navigate them instead of letting emotions run hot. And that's my soapbox for the residential real estate market for the spring of 2026. Thanks for listening to my TEDx talk.
You feel better about educating our community?
I think
nice to each other.
I think it's important, right? Yeah. Because there's so much going on. We're such a divided country. Politics get into everything. So I was listening to the Rogan podcast the other day, and one thing that he said really stuck with me, and I've been just wrapping my head around this. And this is the context of the idea of the other, right? The other people, they're bad, we're good. Mm-hmm. And this is kind of seeped in. It's kind of always been like country to country, right? That country's bad, this country's good. Communism bad, capitalism good. The other is bad. And right now, I think politics have gotten so divisive that we're now looking at our neighbor and saying they're the other. Mm-hmm. When they're not. They're our neighbor. And that's how we need to treat them, and that's what we need to focus on. And
that's true.
I think,
which also means for anyone who's listening, that's not anything with our political stance.
No. So my political belief.
It was just a very good thing that he said.
It was a good thing. And he has people on the left, he has people on the right. I don't listen to every show. Whenever I hear something that might be interesting, I might tune in for 20 minutes, 30 minutes. If there's something good, I'll stick with it. Politics, that's like a pastime, right? It shouldn't be how you live your life. It should be your local community.
Yeah, talk to somebody
your neighbor.
Who's actually, passionate about doing politics and
and they'll argue to death. But
yeah.
for a vast majority of us,
for the regular person who's not in politics.
Yeah, I'm not a lobbyist. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a politician.
Hey, we're your neighbor.
Now I've taken classes with some of these people who are becoming politicians, and it's good to be involved locally, but there's only so much that we can control. And there's a lot of people out there that have issues at home and they're not addressing them because they're complaining about what's happening on a bigger scheme, right? And they're using, there's so many problems in this world, I shouldn't have to fix myself because, they're using it as a scapegoat. I think we all need a little bit more community. I think we all need a little bit
kumbaya?
A little kumbaya. Yeah, a little kumbaya. It goes a long way. And there's nothing wrong with that.
So we're going to have a big field party?
Oh, God. Bring back the field party. Bring back parties where kids can go and have fun without cameras.
No, that's creepy now.
Not like that, but not everything being posted to social media. Give people a little bit of an outlet where they can go.
You're talking about the
disconnect.
80s.
Yeah, your 80s, your 90s. You can go outside and not be connected at all the time.
I get it.
Not like that. Not. Thank you for the correction there.
You're welcome.
Oh God, did it get hot in here? Is this just me? Hot? Yeah. So feelings aren't facts, y'all. I think a good agent here is going to bridge and bring diplomacy into the process. So that means staying calm, focusing on solutions, understanding the other side and what their motivations are, and working to keep a deal moving forward for you.
Be pleasant to each other.
Yeah. The goal here in real estate is to get to the closing table with the best possible outcome. And, you know, sometimes people they're like, oh, should I talk to the buyer? Should I talk to the seller while you're under contract? And for the last 10 years, I've said the exact same thing whenever I get this question. And that is, a buyer talking to a seller does no good for a transaction. The best case scenario that comes out of that it does not negatively impact the contract. The worst case scenario when that happens is that you end up either putting your foot in your mouth or ruining the deal.
Or losing your pants and your gloves and your underwear and your shoes.
If you're in Savannah after St. Patrick's Day, absolutely.
No, I meant like you're giving too much.
No, you can lose an arm and a leg in a real estate transaction. It's easy to overspend. And one of the things that we do with our clients, especially on the full service side, is we walk them through and we kind of give you a peek around the corner. We're like, hey, this is coming up next. So we want to make sure we're not giving away the kitchen sink yet, because based off of the conversations we've had, this is what's most likely going to go down. Mm-hmm. And are there times where we're pleasantly surprised and we get a lot more in favor of our clients? Yes. And that's not uncommon, because we take the steps to protect and to make sure that there's a pathway for that to happen instead of just giving everything off the bat. So
I see it as a dance, right?
Totally a dance.
You have a partner and you need to do certain steps and they need to do certain steps at the same time. If you don't, you're both going to trip and fall, literally.
Mm-hmm.
So when you get a dance partner and they're dancing the polka and you're doing the salsa, of course it's not going to match, right? So think of Georgia real estate as a dance. We can have New York real estate, Alaska real estate. They're all different dances, similar, but not the same. And you need to do these steps in order to actually make it to the goal, like a game, right? A dance.
You sure do.
There's an ending to it. So I've really, been thinking about real estate transactions like that and wondering when people don't get along and they absolutely want to do their own little side dance,
That's right, Tippett.
I'm the one dancing, looking at you going, what are you doing?
Yeah. It's kind of like you want to make sure you're all working together for the same common goal. Communication is the only way that happens. Polite communication. Yes. Civil, professional communication. Communication where we focus on client issues and not on making accusations or giving opinions about how somebody else operates their business. These things happen in real estate. I was talking to an attorney the other day, and we were both baffled at just how little education is required to be in this industry. So there are people.
No, we need to talk about this. So
okay.
It's not necessarily that you have to have a college education for doing real estate, because you...
Talk closer to the mic, please.
Can you hear me now? Hello?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's better.
So we were saying it's not necessarily that you need a college education for a real estate license, right? However, it is very helpful and very, very needed as well, because it is a huge transaction. It's a large portion of somebody's net worth, and that can be a generational difference, right, for somebody. So yes, it comes in handy when you have somebody who has a finance background, or even, the discipline to get a veterinary degree. There's a lot to be said about that. I still think, though, that there are some people who can still make it without.
There are.
Yeah.
So the requirements to be a real estate agent in the state of Georgia: you have to be 18 years or older at the time of taking the test. You have to have a clean criminal background check, or if you have an incident, it has to be brought to the Georgia Real Estate Commission for their review and approval. You have to complete a 75-hour pre-license course. You have to pass 2 exams. You have to pass the course, and then you have to pass the state licensing exam. And then within 1 year of obtaining your state license, you have to complete an additional 25-hour post-license course. These courses it's a lot of material to learn and organize and sort, but they're not impossible. It's very possible for, an average person or a person of average intelligence to pass the test. And then they are licensed. They are considered professionals by the state. And then depending upon their broker takes on the responsibility for their actions. So if they are new, they should be operating under the direction of a broker and a team lead who's going to teach them and watch over them. But not every broker will enforce that, because the Real Estate Commission makes sure that we handle things properly, but they only investigate when something has been brought to their attention. So it is possible that there's a small brokerage out there where a broker is just putting licenses on and not really paying attention. And that can happen. So working with a team that knows the industry, that has taken the additional time to study, who has the experience. If you're working with a new agent, you want to know what experience their team has that is overseeing the work that they're doing. Nothing wrong with a new agent. I was there one time. But when I started out, I knew I had two things to compete on: experience and price. Right? I didn't have experience, so I competed on price. So when I started off, I didn't charge that much for my services. And now I do, because I've brokered over $1 billion in sales. Big difference from an agent who has sold 100 sales over a 15-year career.
I mean, it can mean thousands.
It can mean, it can. It can mean a lot. Because, being a broker, I've sold throughout my entire career as well. So I've run the transactions. But being a broker to that level of volume, I'm brought into every single bad transaction that happened over a 15-year period. Every time there was a discussion between an attorney and a client, I'm in that conversation.
In Georgia, we say, you've seen some stuff.
I've seen some stuff.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So it's hard to convey, from seeing and experiencing and doing this for so long, the amount of pitfalls and kind of potholes that are on the road to real estate. And unless you've got a good vantage point, it's really easy to hit one. And I guess that's kind of the message in a nutshell. Just there's lots of potholes. You got to have a good vantage point.
Funny, because we don't have potholes on our roads, really.
Not as bad as up north, but in the real estate ones we do. So I think that just about does it for this episode.
Yep, short and sweet this time. So we will see you next time.
Yeah. So if you enjoyed today's episode, please be sure to subscribe to the podcast, follow us on YouTube, and share the episode with someone who loves Georgia as much as we do.
Say bye, Tippy. He's not paying attention.
No.
Say bye. Bye-bye.
Next week, we'll be back with the March statistics of how the real estate market is going. We'll see you then.